Let's please stand together and sing Surely the Presence.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and grace. I can feel the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
And let's state together our mission statement. We welcome all as we create a loving community, teach universal truths, practice spiritual principles, and live life abundantly. Thank you. Please be seated. Well, welcome to Unity of Dayton this morning, for all of you who are here in the sanctuary, and for those of you who are watching via YouTube and Facebook. It's good to have you here. Unity was founded on the power of prayer. Back in 1889, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore founded Unity, and it's been going strong ever since because the power of affirmative prayer really, really works in our lives. It can't not work. It's spiritual law. So if you have a prayer request, we invite you to place it on one of the purple forms that's in the seat pocket in front of you. You can put it in the offering basket later, or send an email to unityofdayton.org. Well, you'll find unity@unityofdayton.org on the website. Anyway, send that to us and we'll hold you in prayer for 30 days. And then we'll send your name on to Silent Unity, where they'll continue praying with you for another 30 days. And praying with you, not for you, praying with you. So you pray, we pray, let's all pray. Let's do that now. Living and loving God. This morning we open our hearts, we open our minds, and we stay in this place of affirming the truth that we know. There is a presence within us that is greater than the world around us, and that presence and power is the only presence that's active in our lives. We stand firm in the knowing that as we ask, it's given. And then our work is simply to know, to be still, know, and hold that vision. Feel grateful for all that has been given. And so in this moment, we do take that, just that moment to say thank you. Thank you, Infinite Spirit, for all that has been given. And for all of the dreams in our hearts, for all of the desires, the good desires of our hearts. We give thanks that knowing that they are already being answered. Thank you, Infinite Spirit. Amen and amen. Wow. Affirmation time. Our affirmation this morning is, there is an eternal law of justice. I am one with that law, and I rest in it. There's a lot of words there, but let's say them together. There is an eternal law of justice. I am one with that law, and I rest in it. So, there'll be more about that a little bit later. Now I'd like to take a moment to welcome any visitors that are here for the first time. If you're here for the first time, please raise your hand so that our ushers can find you and give you the welcome packet that we'd like for you to have. There's a young lady there. Anyone else going to claim to be here for the first time? Okay. Well, we want to thank you for being here this morning. I'm always interested in knowing how people found Unity, because I remember how I found it, and people come here from all different walks of life. Sometimes we walk in and we go, wow, this feels like home. And sometimes we keep looking. So we hope that this is a spiritual home that resonates with you, and if it is, you're our tribe. So welcome. If it's not, we know that you'll find a spiritual home that is right for you. So welcome. Thank you for being here this morning. You're welcome. All right. We have a featured announcement at this point. I would like to ask Jim to come up, and he has something he would like to share.
Good morning, everybody. On January 6th, our next door neighbor's house caught on fire. And there's 3 adults that live in that house. The grandmother died and the dog, Roxy, died. And so our neighborhood is coming together to try to help this family. They do not have any homeowners insurance or health insurance. So you can talk with myself afterwards or Catherine, and I have a handout too that explains the kind of help they need right now. So just wanted to let everybody know if you want to reach out, that would be appreciated. Thanks.
Thank you, James. All right. Sometimes that's what it's all about is being a neighbor and helping. And we certainly send our prayers out to that family and to all those who were affected, all the neighbors. Just know that God is in the midst of it. All right. And now we're going to stand and sing together. Everybody have a song sheet. The words are Sacred Love that we're going to sing this morning. Please stand and let's sing together.
You are sacred love is all that you are. You are sacred love is all that you are. Show the way, God, show the way. I want to live in such a state of grace. Lead the way, God, lead the way. I want to live in such a holy place. Such a holy place. You are blessed peace is all that you are. You are blessed peace is all that you are. Show the way, God, show the way. I want to live in such a state of grace. Lead the way, God, lead the way. I want to live in such a holy place. Such a holy place. You are deepest joy is all that you are. You are deepest joy is all that you are. Show the way, God, show the way. I want to live in such a state of grace. Lead the way, God, lead the way. I want to live in such a holy place. Such a holy place. You are sacred love is all that you are. You are sacred love is all that you are. Sacred love is all that you are. Sacred love is all that you are.
Thank you. Please be seated.
Good morning. The daily word for today is rise. And the affirmation is, I rise in consciousness to help create a world that works for all. Throughout time, there have been people who led lives that changed the world forever. Their words and deeds provided hope and inspiration for those who would carry forth their legacies of love, growth, and evolution long after they left this life. Their most powerful contribution, however, was their ability to inspire others to express their own divine purpose. As more and more people reach their highest potential, the whole of humanity ascends. Today, I honor those who have led lives of service, striving for love, truth, and justice. I take steps, not just to commemorate their journeys and contributions, but to embark upon my own. I rise, grateful to contribute all I can to the growth and evolution of humankind. From the book of Ezra, chapter 10, verse 4, take action, for it is your duty, and we are with you. Be strong and do it. Today's daily word is rise. And we get to rise out of our chairs once again and join in song, I've Got Peace Like a River.
If you know the hand motions, feel free to join in. I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got love like a mountain, I've got love like a mountain, I've got love like a mountain in my soul. I've got love like a mountain, I've got love like a mountain, I've got love like a mountain in my soul. I've got joy like a mountain, I've got joy like a mountain, I've got joy like a mountain in my soul. I've got joy like a mountain, I've got joy like a mountain, I've got joy like a fountain in my soul.
All right, is that it? Okay, please be seated. All right. So now is the time when we prepare, switching gears entirely, prepare for meditation.
In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release from a world full of chaos and noise. So I wait for these precious moments when I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God, I find myself. In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release from a world full of chaos and noise. So I wait for these precious moments when I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God, I find God, I find myself.
As the notes of the music fade away, I invite you to become comfortable. And if you haven't already done so, close your eyes. Allow the chair to fully support you. Become aware of all of the energy in the room. Become aware of all the love that surrounds you right now, wherever you are. You are enfolded in the love of God. You see, you can't get outside of God's love. There's nowhere else to go. It is God's love that has created and sustains this universe. You, me, everything in it, everyone in it, is an expression, an extension of God's love. And so maybe you're thinking, well, why doesn't the world look that way? Why doesn't it feel that way all the time? And it is simply because we have forgotten. We who have free will have forgotten that we are sacred love. Sacred love is all that we are. It's all that you are in this moment. And if in a time of quiet, you can open your heart. If in a quiet time of quiet, you can quiet your mind and simply say, peace, be still, to any thoughts that arise. And invite Spirit to move through you. Think to yourself now, Spirit, move through me now. Move through my mind, move through my heart. Remind me of the truth that I know. The truth that resonates with me, the truth that is eternal. I am sacred love. God is, and I am. And all the rest is simply the confusion that comes with having forgotten. Having forgotten that you are that Christ presence, that loving Christ presence is the majority, it's the biggest part of who you are. Call on that presence to move through you now. Infinite Spirit, Christ presence, arise up into my conscious mind, move through me now. Remind me of the truth that soothes my soul, the truth that quiets my mind. God is, I am. With every heartbeat, with every breath, that constant flow of knowing God is, I am. And so as we take a few moments now to be in silence and to feel that pulsing truth, God is, I am. We will be still, we will be open to receiving this in a way that is larger than we may have known before. God is, I am. I am sacred love. In the silence, in the silence. And so let us take a breath together now. And remember together, God is, I am. That presence and power is moving through you now, is enlivening you, is healing every part of your mind, body, every part of your life. Is in divine order, mind, idea, expression. The Christ mind is your mind. You are an idea in the mind of God. What more could there be than that? And you express that every day in your thoughts, your words, and your actions. God is, I am. I am sacred love. Thank you, Infinite Spirit, for this knowing. Thank you for the constant reminders. Thank you for the sacred community that we share, where we remind each other we are sacred love. Thank you, God. Amen and amen.
So I wait for these precious moments when I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God. I find God, I find myself.
Last night I dreamed my daddy woke me up, took me by the hand, and walked me down the hill and through the woods to where a little chapel stands. And everyone we knew was there, and they all seemed so happy we came by. The deacon shook our hand and then he led us to our seat beside the aisle. The preacher started talking and everybody leaned in real close. He said, there is a light in the dark when you need it the most. There is a way through this world if we keep this in mind. No one gets to heaven if anybody else is left behind. No one gets to heaven if anyone is lost along the way. And it's so easy to doubt, so now let us join hands and pray. We'll meet on that beautiful shore in the sweet by and by. No one gets to heaven if anybody else is left behind. We sang Rock of Ages like we've been to that place. We sang peace in the valley, and Lord, we sang I'll fly away. We raised up our voices, sounded like angels on high, singing no one gets to heaven if anybody else is left behind. No one gets to heaven if anyone is lost along the way. And it's so easy to doubt it, so now let us join hands and pray. We'll meet on that beautiful shore in the sweet by and by. No one gets to heaven if anybody else is left behind. No one gets to heaven if anybody else is left behind.
Thank you, Doug. That was beautiful. And Tony on the harmonica and all y'all. Thank you. No one gets to heaven. No one gets to heaven if anybody is left behind. Well, heaven is a state of consciousness. Heaven is a place where we all know the truth. It's not a geographical place that we go to. It's the awareness of the expressing Christ's presence right here and right now. No one gets there until we all get there. Now I'm not sure I believe that, but it's a beautiful song. Okay, today, let's come down here and now. Cory Booker. How many of you know who Cory Booker is? Cory Booker is a graduate of Yale Law School. He's an attorney, he's an author, and in 2013 he was elected to the US Senate. One day, the senator was going into the Capitol building to do his work, and he was stopped by a Capitol police officer. The officer asked Senator Booker for his ID. You know, all US senators wear a pin. If you ever see them on TV, they all wear a pin on their lapel showing who they are. They're the only ones who have that pin. That marks them. They know they're senators. And the police officer said to him, "Oh, I recognize the pin. I don't recognize you." And he asked for his ID again, and the first African-American senator from the great state of New Jersey graciously complied and showed him his identification. Now, it shouldn't have been necessary because he had the pin, and because Capitol police officers are supposed to be better trained than that. They should know who they are. They should be familiar with some of these faces that come in and out of that building. But even if they don't, there was no reason for him to use a condescending, racist tone of voice to Senator Booker. Racism is alive and well in this country, and if we weren't thinking that it was, if we had put that out of our consciousness and said, nobody I know is racist, the last couple of years have shown us that's not true. Racism is alive and well today. We are honoring the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s life. We're celebrating the national holiday tomorrow. And he did more to bring about the awareness of the plight of the African-American people in this country and in this world than probably anyone ever has. And he paid the ultimate price for it. Most of us have probably heard the I Have a Dream speech, powerful speech. We may not all be quite as familiar with the letter from Birmingham Jail that he wrote in 1963. You see, King had gone to Birmingham, Alabama at the invitation of the people there. He was going for peaceful demonstrations, and he took time to train people so that they wouldn't react to the police, so that it could really, truly be nonviolent. So no matter how much they were provoked, they would stay in that state of peaceful, prayerful nonviolence. And what happened instead was their nonviolence was met with violence. As it so often happens, black violence, nonviolence is met with white violence. He was thrown into jail. They didn't give him anything. They wouldn't let him. He just was thrown into a cruel, it's a pitiful looking, nasty looking jail cell. If you've ever seen a picture of the jail cell he was in. Someone came in, I think it was his lawyer, and managed to give him a newspaper. And in that newspaper, he read an article that had been written by several, I think it was 6 of the local white clergy in the area. And they were criticizing him. They were criticizing him for not being patient with the local government to change. They said, wait, if you could just wait, there's no reason to protest, there's no reason for this, if you could just wait. Well, that triggered something in King. He started writing in the margins of that newspaper, the only paper he had. And he kept writing, and then he asked for more paper, and somebody finally was allowed finally to have a pad of paper, and he kept writing, and he kept writing. He pointed out that they had waited 340 years for their constitutional and God-given rights. And he said, justice too long delayed is justice denied. I don't think those were his original words. He was quoting somebody else. I don't know who that somebody else is, but we know those words now. Justice too long delayed is justice denied. We know the truth of that. Well, it's been 59 years since he wrote that letter in the Birmingham Jail. And we'd like to think that a lot of progress has been made, and progress indeed has been made. No one could imagine that there would be African-American black senators. We had an African-American president, and now we have a black vice president, a female black vice president. Wow, things have changed. This is good. This is good. Things are going much better. Consciousness is evolving. More white people are aware than they ever were before. And it's okay to think that, unless thinking that is used as an excuse for ignoring systemic racism and for our inaction when we personally encounter racism. Yes, we've made progress, but the last couple of years have made it abundantly clear, because this is all coming up. It's all being revealed because it is time for it to be healed. It's still here. We've got a long, long way to go until there's racial justice in America. Dr. King wrote, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly." Wow, that sounds like unity speak, for we are all one. We are all one presence, one power. We are all one humankind. We are all one. And what affects one directly affects all indirectly. We'd like to hold to the truth that there is an eternal law of justice, and in time, human consciousness will evolve to Christ consciousness and will live in the awareness of our oneness with the divine and with the divine in each other. That's where we're going. We'd like to say this morning's affirmation, there is an eternal law of justice, and I'm one with that law, and I rest in it and feel good about saying that. Feel good about ourselves because we're not racist. We're not. We like to say that God's taking care of it, and it's happening. So we can just focus on our own personal journey and not get too involved. Except that whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. So a minister's job is to afflict the comfortable, to comfort the afflicted, and to afflict the comfortable. How am I doing? A man named Ibram Kendi wrote a book called How to Be an Anti-Racist. Don't know if you're familiar with this book. It's a New York Times bestseller, #1 bestseller. This is a very readable, he is a wonderful author. He tells the stories in a way that just keep you turning the pages. And it is so full of information and ideas that as a white person, I got to admit, I wasn't totally aware, and I consider myself to be a fairly aware person. But there are some things in here, like the idea of ethnic racism, hadn't occurred to me. If you want to know more about it, I'd really recommend that you get this book. He defines a racist as one who is supporting a racist policy through their action or inaction, or is expressing a racist idea through their actions or inactions, or expressing a racist idea. He defines an anti-racist as one who is supporting an anti-racist policy through their actions or expressing an anti-racist idea. Now, the predominantly white church in America has tried to rest in the middle ground between racist and anti-racist. You know, we say, I'm not a racist. And being I'm not a racist is not the same as being an anti-racist. And I know in Unity, we don't like to say anti-anything. We don't like to push against anything. This is a difference. You have to go deeply into his teachings and deeply into Unity teachings to understand how this is not pushing against. It's just a word, because it's the best one that describes, anti-racist is the best one that describes how to get into that state of oneness that we are so keenly aware of in our teachings. We like to celebrate the progress that's made, that's been made, that's being made, while still ignoring the privilege that the racist system affords us, the privilege to ignore the ongoing racism and racist systems that perpetuate the abuse in this country. Martin Luther King wrote, we will have to repent in this generation, not merely for the hateful words and actions of the bad people, but for the appalling silence of the good people. The appalling silence of the good people. Now, early, I just used the word privilege. A lot of people have a misunderstanding about what privilege means. So I'm going to use a kind of a different example so that we'll get it, maybe on a deeper level. Did you know that about 1 in 8 female people in this, I guess, in this country, either experience childhood sexual abuse or rape? About 1 in 8 women. And this has been going on throughout time. Our grandmothers were aware of it. Our mothers were aware of it. We're aware of it. We're aware of it for our daughters. As little girls were taught the dangers about speaking to strangers, about being attacked or kidnapped. Women learn to be aware of their surroundings, you know, to wear modest clothing. Be careful, don't walk past a group of men if you're by yourself. If you can help it, go around the other way. Look, when you go out to your car, have your keys ready. Mace if you got it. Look around, make sure there's nobody nearby, wait to push you in and kidnap you. Are you all familiar with these ideas? Yeah, the ladies in this group are familiar with these ideas. Heaven forbid you go out to a bar by yourself, because you better keep your hand on the top of your glass, because somebody could slip something in there, right? Wow. Don't do anything that might cause someone to assault you. You've heard that? Yeah. Gentlemen, do you have any of these same concerns, not for the ladies in your presence, but for yourselves? Do you have to think about what you're wearing when you go out so that you're not too provocative? Do you have to? Well, maybe that one does, but the most of you don't. You don't have to look around and watch to make sure that nobody's lurking, waiting to kidnap you. You go about your day-to-day business, and it never occurs to you that you have to watch out for your physical safety so that you're not attacked like that. What's the difference? That difference is called privilege. That is privilege. You get to walk around free, not concerned about those kind of things. It doesn't even affect your mind. And that's the way it should be. We should all have that privilege. We should all have that freedom. Nobody should be walking around in fear. But we've heard about it, we've been taught about it, we've experienced it, it's part of our psyche, and that's the way it goes when there's privilege. Males have the privilege of feeling safe in their skin. They don't have to have that in their minds. And so just like most men can't really understand that persistent low level of anxiety that women feel in vulnerable situations, most white people can't even begin to know how it feels to be in a Black body. You just can't even imagine. Generations of Black people have had to cope with abuse, oppression. It's not just something that happened to somebody, it happens to almost everybody that they know. They haven't had the privilege that white Americans have had of being free from fear, and the freedom of having economic equal opportunity. There are barriers in place. I worked with a woman once, a white woman. We had worked together and then saw her on Facebook as a friend. And we were having this discussion and somebody said that she had privilege. Whoa, she got all defensive and she said she worked hard for everything that she had. She wasn't born with a silver spoon in her mouth. She worked to get through college. She worked to get to be a nurse. She worked really hard in her life. And she just was really upset that somebody accused her of having privilege. So much so that she could not hear it when it was spelled out exactly what privilege was. She just couldn't get to it because she was in a state where, if you don't have ears to hear, you can't hear. When something else is going on in your mind, you don't get it. But being Black in America means living under the constant threat of physical harm by angry white people and by the authorities that are supposed to protect us. We white people assume that when we call the police, they'll come and they will help us. That is not the Black experience in America. They hesitate long and hard to call the police because when they do more often, well, I won't say more often than not, but so way too often, they end up getting shot, somebody ends up getting killed. You don't call the police. They're not there to protect you. They're more likely to hurt you. Having privilege means that you're free to do what you want without real or imagined barriers or dangers. You can have a barbecue in the park with your friends and your family. You can pick up a BB rifle in Walmart and not get shot because you're carrying it around. You can go running in your neighborhood without being gunned down. You can drive an expensive car without the cops stopping you, assuming that you either stole it or that you're a drug dealer and you have something to hide and being dragged out of that car. Even if you're wearing the officer of the United States military officer's uniform, you could get dragged out of your car just because you're the wrong color skin driving home from work. Wow. Privilege. We can drive, we can do what we want. Nobody stops us just because of the way we look. That's privilege. Privilege is freedom from fear and freedom from oppression by those who hold power around us. Martin Luther King wrote, "We will win our freedom because the sacred heritage of our nation and the eternal will of God are embodied in our echoing demands." And to me, that sounds like there is an eternal law of justice, and we are moving toward that. Consciousness is evolving. Thank you, God. Things are happening. And that doesn't mean that we can rest. Oh, we can rest in the eternal law of justice, but we can't rest in racism. We can't rest in injustice. It's not just the hateful words and actions of bad people. It's also the appalling silence of the good people. I believe that we must make a stand for justice. We must. We must be advocates. We must be anti-racist. Because if you're not an anti-racist, you're standing with the racists. There is no neutral ground. Just like it says in A Course in Miracles, there are no neutral thoughts. There is no neutral ground. And so, what is ours to do? What is ours to do? Well, there's a lot to think about there. I would say the first thing to do is, if this is, I always use the old-fashioned word convicting you. If this is convicting you, if you're wondering how you can help and feel like you ought to, educate yourself. And educating yourself does not mean going to your Black friends and asking them to tell you how they've been living and their experiences. They've had enough of that. Okay? It means educating yourself. Read this book, How to Be an Anti-Racist. That's a great place to start. You can get it at the library. You can get it online. You can buy it. Just take your time. And there are many, many, many other books that are written by Black authors that try to explain so that white America can hear what's going on and can feel their pain. So you immerse yourself in this study and you learn about it and you start to feel bad. You start to feel angry along with them. I invite you to move from that space back into the awareness of the Christ presence that you are and that they are. Behold the Christ. Behold that Christ presence. See everyone around you, because it won't help us to get as angry as they are. It won't help them to be as angry as they are. What helps is to lift each other up and say, I am here to support you in any way I can. How can I help you? And let them tell you, let these authors tell you how you can help, how you can be of service, how you can be a part of the evolution of human consciousness. It means not standing by idly. If you see racism, he tells in the book a story of when he was a kid and he lived in New York, and ethnic racism is where you have African Americans and then you have immigrant blacks from other places. And the ethnicities look down on each other because they've learned to look down on themselves from white people. And so they start who's best, seeing mates, because the guy comes time when if It's baked in. We're not even aware of it because we're part of it. And our work is to step back from it, look at it, question everything, and then go within and see what is yours to do. As the world continues to shift beneath our feet, and it's changing so fast, you can hardly catch a breath. And as it continues to shift beneath our feet, may the clarity and the love of the living Christ presence within you guide you. Guide your thoughts, guide your words, guide your actions. May it bring together people, even in this community, that may be able to work for good, to put their energy into it. Not everybody will want to do that. You have to discern what is yours to do. Whatever it is, have the courage to do it and stand in a place of peace. The loving Christ presence, the non-violent loving Christ presence will guide you and will set us all free. Thank you. God bless you. Oh my goodness. I've left behind my thing. But the people out there in internet land won't know it because for some reason the audio is still on. God bless you, people. Thank you for that. Our offering blessing is divine love through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive. I invite you to take your offering in your hands. Just take a deep breath. Feel the love of God flowing through you. Only love is real. Only love can heal. Let's say our offering blessing together. Divine love through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful. 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 We are grateful. We just, oh my goodness. We're going to bless that offering from here. Oh my. Joy will come my way. I'll come to it as well. Loving God, we are grateful. We bless these gifts. We bless this world. We know consciousness is evolving and we are part of the change. And we are excited to move forward into what is ours to do. May these gifts support this evolving consciousness and the change for good. Thank you, God. Transformational opportunities. Find your yes. What does it say?
It says you're going to make the first one.
It says Dan Stubaker's Ascension to the Fifth Dimension, Volume 2 Zoom group meets at 7 p.m. on the first and third Wednesdays. If you would like to be a part of that amazing group, send an email to unity@unityofdayton.org and we will connect you up with Dan's group. Dan's out in Portland, but he's still serving this congregation. So thank you, Dan.
Yes, indeed. Do you sing? Do you dance? Read poetry? You got an instrument that you play? Some other talent? We would love for you to share it with the congregation, and we will be having a talent show on Friday, February 18th at 7 p.m.
you'll have a chance to take the stage and show off all your talent. So rehearsal will be on Friday, February 11th. There's a sign-up sheet in the social area, and if you have questions, see Greg Foster. I won't even tell you what, because Cindy's gonna tell you.
I'm gonna tell you all that. Out there at the table, Greg or Gary is sitting there selling the raffle tickets. The 50-50 raffle is going on. It's building, the pot is building. So if you want some of those raffle tickets, they will be out there. I think you're gonna be selling them every Sunday, and you can even buy them on the night of the talent show. So buy your 50-50 raffle tickets, half of that goes to the winner and half of it goes to support the music team. So thank you.
It's really cool to be the winner. I got to be the winner once.
Did you?
Yeah.
You didn't share it with me.
No. And who was it? What's all the Is it Ann?
Well,
Joanne?
and
Was it
Vivian.
you, Joanne? Do you win all the time?
No, it's Ann.
Ann.
And I think Vivian won those, you know? Yes. So it really happens.
So give a gift of love. Start the new year by bringing joy and love to someone's life. Each Sunday through February 13th, bring a new stuffed animal. And I see we have more and more and more and more stuffed animals out there. They're all so darn cute. And they're cuddly. So you're supposed to cuddle them and just love them up because as of the 13th of February, I think you're in on it. You're going to take them over to a facility nearby here where seniors are living, and we'll love them up continually the rest of their days.
The rest of their days.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of questions since Reverend Sue and I announced our retirements at the end of February. We're going to have a fireside chat. The board is going to have a fireside chat on the 30th of January. We will sit down and we will just answer any questions that you have, talk about what the future might look like, what's going on, and they're going to want to try and keep you updated beyond that. There'll be regular updates. When something happens and we know something, or y'all know something, they'll keep you updated because I know everybody wants to be apprised of what's going on. You can also just hold that high vision that everything is going exceedingly well and that it's all working out together because that's the way it is. Things are always, our affirmation can be, things are always working out for us. Things are always working out for us. That really works for me. So, but if you want to know what's going on, the board is lining up guest speakers. They're going to be acting as platform assistants. Things are happening and they're getting together the packet. Christine has volunteered to be the leader of that search team, and so she's searching. We're that search team and searching. So they're working with Unity Worldwide Ministries to put everything in place. So, what day? January 30th.
January 30th.
After the
Sunday.
service.
Yeah. Fireside chat. I like that. That'd be nice.
What else you got?
Well, I think we just need to remind everybody, if they're still listening on YouTube, and also everyone that is here, all these bright, shiny, beautiful faces, oh my goodness, that
You are the light of the world.